This is Cody with Nexus Event Studio, and I am going to be doing a little bit on BitBurner, how to do JavaScript and how to fix some of the bugs that you may end up creating as you go through and doing things. So I'm just created a brand new start. See, I'm at empty on everything. I've skipped the tutorial, and we are going to basically do some very basic scripts to start off, teach a little bit of JavaScript, and hopefully help you know how to debug and fix certain pieces as you go through. So the first thing we're going to do is create one, and we'll just call it chest, and we'll just create that. So this is the main piece. You need this. This is kind of the entry point to start saying that this is where we start running our code. So if I just save right now, come out here to terminal, I can run it. Very basic. You can see it ran. If you go into active scripts, you will not see it. That's because it ran and finished. So you can see here in the recently killed, came through, the logs. There's no logs. It just says finished. Yay, finished, you know. So that's kind of what we're expecting. It ran all the lines. There just happened to be no lines in there, so it finished. So if we come up and open it back up again, and so what we're going to do is the very basic of kind of what I said, this is the starting script, right? So let's just say something else. We'll say start, right? So now I think it, because of our export, it might still do the right thing, but we shall see. Run test. At an error. You can see here, it did not have a main function. So it's specifically looking for that function called main. So if we come back up to our script editor, change that back to main. That's why we have main. Export. You happen to be missing that. What happens? Did I save? That's a good question. Did save. So again, it doesn't have a main function. So that if you notice, that was the same error message. I did that a little fast because it doesn't have a main. So that, there we go. Export is important. What about async? Is that important? Absolutely. All this is important. So this is the main basic piece. You need that to work. Now let's do an S. So you can get the autocomplete that kind of shows up here. With this autocomplete, what we're seeing is now if I do the dot, you can see all the different methods that can be ran. So there's a lot of them in here. There's a lot to learn. You can click on one of them, hover over that with the mouse, and you get a little more information. In addition to that, you can get more information from the BitBurner documentation. Come here, documentation. You have some of the basics. And in here, I go to get scripts. No, I don't think it's really going to be in here. All right. One of these, I thought it actually took you to the website, but no. This beginner guide will have some information. Does it have the link? No, so I will just do it. So that is not documentation. That is the correct page though. All right, so terminal. Got the commands. Not quite the one I want. Basic gameplay. There we go. Commands. This is the things you can run from the terminal, but not so much as the scripts. I need to make a change. All right. All right, so it's not in there. there was a thought in here, full documentation. No, dev, master. All right. Basically, where I was trying to take you was to where all the different pieces are, or all the different methods that you could be able to understand and use within your JavaScript. And so I will just have to go back and we'll go the other route. I'll just explain. All right. So with this is your basic function. So you've got this main function. So when you do the run outside, it knows to start here and start doing the code. And then on this, you can do different functions. So if I were to come in here and just be like function hello, right? This is kind of that. I can then up in here, instead of having S, I can do hello, and that will call the thing in here. How this passes in NS, I can say NS here, so NS there. If I take this little comment block here, which is just describes here what this NS is, then I can get back to getting this information, right? So, oh, log is, it's not log. Like my mind just died. Log enable, disable log. So I'm gonna have to look through here a little at a time to look for, I'll know it as soon as I see it. I don't know why I can't think of it at the moment. Oh, Greg Hack has print. Most of the time it is log. In actual JavaScript, it's log. And so that's why so print, I can say hello world, right? This is kind of your typical beginning. So if I come in here, this is a start function. We're going to run the hello, this hello, which is then going to print. This print is going to do the log. So now if I do run test, up here to active, it finished, it died, go up to here, get log, you can see it printed the hello world, right? So that's kind of the pieces there. Again, what happens if we miss things? So is this using the JavaScript that cares about the semicolon or does it not? Find out, right? So run test. It's the kind that doesn't care. So it's a newer version. Yay. Older ones, you always had to have a semicolon. So I've just gotten used to doing that. So that's me. So what happens if I miss kind of the curly bracket? You can see the little squiggly there trying to tell me expected comma. Expected comma. That makes it a little hard to realize that, hey, what you really wanted was the close parentheses, right? So some of these are just very crummy messages. And, oh no, here, if you're missing, get unexpected token. 40. What is that talking about? 4, line 4, character at 0. That's where our squiggly is. Argument expression expected. Again, that one's different than the other ones. So that's kind of what these are referring to. If I run, again, unexpected. Why? Totally different thing, totally different message, but it's still referring to this piece here. It knows that it's missing something, but it doesn't know if what you wanted to do was something like this. That's why the comma is saying that, because maybe I'm wanting to do another comma, right? And so you can say the greetings, right? So we're going to take this, add it to this string, And so again, we're going to have our hello world. And because I hate having to go through and find things, NSTail tell us to actually pull open the log window. So again, hello world, we're there. What if I missed the method altogether? Right? Not getting any red squigglies this time. But when I run, it ran it. But if you notice, I didn't. Well, it's because I got rid of the tail piece. So active scripts recently killed. There I go, log, hello world. So in that case, it skipped it. It's not what I expected. I expected to have an error of some sort. So, yeah, what other kind of errors and things are you going to see? All right, what happens when I don't pass in this second argument into this function, right? So it's expecting greetings here. It's supposed to be doing something there. Let's put our NSTail back. So I think I can actually run this with the plus there. Undefined world. So it still does something. So if you don't provide the variable, it'll tell you undefined, which is different than if I were pass in null, null being empty, missing kind of thing, right? And so here, again, we'll run that. See null world, right? And so undefined is the complete absence. Null is the semi-absence of that. So why does that matter? Well, let's go into something called if statements. So we have if some sort of condition, then we say that we're going to do whatever's inside of this if, right? So I want to print, no, I'm in the if statement, right? So in here, I can write true, meaning that it'll always run. So if I run this, you know, I'm in the if statement, right? This is false. You can even see it kind of grayed out here. Yeah, it's, you know, and it even tells me unreachable code detected. So it'll never run. We'll never get there, right? Run that doesn't have the if. So if I do if greetings, to say that if I have greetings, then print in here, right? Here you can see I didn't print it. So let me comment that out, right? 2 slashes up front, comments it out so it doesn't run it. Run it again. Actually, you can see it didn't do anything. Let me do ns.clear text file to clean. So I don't want to do that one. Is it the clear log probably? Clears the scripts log. Now when I hit play, there we go. Now it's a lot easier to read. So now if I have no greetings, right? Greetings is undefined. If I have null that I pass in there, will greetings? No, it doesn't. But now if I go back to my hello, it'll have something in there. I'm in the if statement, right? So JavaScript is what we call loosely typed, loose. So loose. So there are kind of different things, right? So there is actually, I think if I go, this is just good to know in here. If I go to JavaScript Truthy, Truthy. So this was just developer Mozilla, right? So this kind of explains a little bit of what I'm saying here of what is considered true or what is, has something, and then those which are false, right? So all of these will be considered true. Therefore, it'll run the if statement, right? So all of those. So then the falsy one, these are the things that are false, right? So this is the false of, when I typed in false and not the string of false, right? So it's the actual Boolean false, not the string false. All these things will give you falses, right? So what if I wanted to check if that is undefined, right? So there is, if we go back to BitBurner here, if I want it to run when I'm undefined, what I would say is undefined equals like triple equals, right? This is very much, I want it to match exactly undefined. Super match, right? So now when I run it, you can see I'm in the if statement. Do 2, still in the if statement. I want to do not equals, so it's not equal to undefined. See, I'm now not in it. So, yeah, so the triple equals, basically, instead of having that loosely truth-like thing, this is very much has to exactly match. So I'm always trying to think of exact examples. I want to say 0 versus 0 would work. Yeah, see, that worked, even though they're not exactly equal. But if I add the triple equals, now it didn't work, right? Because this goes back to that truthy table. Both of these were considered true. So, and the fact that one's string and the other's, so yeah, there's a lot of casting and changing because it's loosely typed and things like that. So it's a good thing to kind of know. All right, so what else is worth knowing? We have arrays. Those are good to know. So with that, yeah, let's do that. So, well, I guess before we do arrays, we should actually talk about variables and what those are, what they do, things like that, right? So before I was passing in, our hello, which then this becomes, these are arguments or variables that are used. And so I can actually come in here and say greetings now is going to equal something else like sup, because I can't think of anything else at the moment. And we'll comment that out, comment this back in. So we're actually running it. Right. And so closed it. Run test. Right. So it changed what's in there. So you can put whatever I want in there. 2, 3, 4. Right. So it changes from string to now being a number. I can run it and it'll change. In a strictly typed language, you cannot do that. You got to say what it is. JavaScript is not that, so it's cool. If I wanted to create a new one, and let's say leave greetings as that is, R for variable, and we'll say place equals world, right? So now when I come in here, I've got greetings plus a space plus world, oh, I call it place, right? So now we get our same thing here. They have what's called interpolation. So if I use instead backtick, $1 there. Yes. Okay. Greetings. Then I can put my space there. $, place. All right. So now we're there. This will get us the same kind of thing. World, we'll say Earth. Right. There we go. Hello world. So that's our variable. Variable means I can change it, as we were saying. And so now I can say, go back to our world, right? So now if I run this, it'll change. If I go let, no, not let, const. Actually, let might. I don't use let very often, but const means that when I run this, it's going to go kaboom. Assign it to a constant variable. If it's constant, it is constant. You cannot change it because it's constant. If you changed it, it would no longer be constant. So you get that error if you try and do that. So that might be nice if you want to make sure you never change anything. Sad thing is, it doesn't tell you that anywhere in here. You got to wait for things to go kaboom. So we'll go back to our pretty sure let does a constant as well. No, let's not. Okay. But I don't use let. I just use var because that was the old way of doing it, and I'm just used to that. Okay. So there's those. Now we can talk about an array. No, not yet. So the next thing is a while loop. This will be good. So I'm going to say int as an integer, right? And so while, again, this is another kind of conditional statement, much like the if was. We have the while. While it's true, do it and do it again, again, and again, and again, and keep doing that while this is still true. While it's true, keep doing it, right? So a lot of times you'll see things like, while the integer is less than 10, or we have less than or equal to 10, right? Either way, that works, right? So I can say, go ahead and print the, just call this I. I don't know why I did int. I dislike int because it reminds me of other things. So print I, right? And so I will then say I equals I plus 1, right? And so this will eventually go. It does not define, oh, because I changed it. And, oh, so go back. Hey, another error you might find. Int is not defined. I did not define it. So again, this is at the hello function, line 13, character 13. Character 13. This int right there. That's how you find that. Right? So now if I run it, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. It's no longer true at 10, 11. So therefore it stops. And then now you got our print of thing, right? So again, another truthy kind of thing. So if you're using an integer to count like this, they have another thing where you can do that. It's called a for loop, where it loops for so many times, right? So it's the same kind of thing, but it's condensed down. So have for our variable I equals 0, except for I already have I from above, so we'll just say J. That's another common I and J. J is less than equal to 10. J plus plus. Whoa, you got all sorts of stuff going on here. So if you compare between these two things, they're basically the exact same thing. The difference is that it's a lot shorter. Takes, these 5 lines as opposed to these 3 lines, right? So it kind of condenses things. But what is this magic with J++? You can do the same thing here. This is basically saying add 1 to it. This would be identical, right? It's the same thing. That is the same thing as just saying that. Now, there's that, and then there's that. What's the difference between the two? It depends on when the variable is actually used. In this particular case, when they're written like this, it does not matter. They're effectively the exact same thing. Now, I could do this, which is like that in there. And now it kind of matters what's going on. Let me take this for loop out just so we can see here. So notice it's 0 through 10. So what happens is it's going to use the variable in this print statement, and then it will add 1 to it. Now let's see if it makes me a liar. Hey, it's not. Okay. So, right, it uses the variable and then adds 1 to it. If I come up and do our ++i, what you'll see now is you'll have the numbers 1 through 11. Because first it adds 1 to it, and then it uses it after that, right? So 1 through 11. Now, just to show, well, actually, we'll go back to our ++ there, right? That this is now the same as the for loop. Kaboom! Because I used I instead of J. I'm so smart. So there we go. Back to our 0, 10. Works identically the same. Same thing, right? So why would we use these differently? Well, here it's a lot easier when you're counting. This is better when you're not counting something. So this will be good for if I found something, then do something, or, it's not for counting. This is more for if I have a set thing to count. And now I can do something called an array. So I need a name, blah. So this is a syntax for a very basic array. An array is think of it like a train that each has their own car, and each car has something in it, right? So I can say I'm going to have in it I have B, I'm going to have C in it. So this is an array that has 3 items in it, or 3 elements. And in the 0 element, I have A. In the first element, I have B. And this third element, or 0, 1, 2. Second element has C. There are 3 items, 0, 1, and 2. Right? The reason that matters is because if I want a letter from blah, I want the A. It'll be, I need an equals. So just because I did it, let's see it go kaboom. Could not calculate. So in this case, this is not a JavaScript error. This is more of a BitBurner error. Couldn't figure out what it should be doing. So now this letter here, comment to these guys. Right, so now if I do ns.log, not log, print letter, this will print A. The A. I want C. I have 2. Or C. Why does this matter? So again, when I went with this for loop, wanting to count, now I can say, well, J is less than dot count, no, length. Problem with knowing so many languages. This is a property, so I don't need brace. Hey, let's just show what happens when you have them. Length is not a function. So it's not a function. It's actually a, my mind just died. Property. There we go. It's a property. So you don't need the parentheses. No. So now length, in this case, our length is 3. 1, 2, 3, right? With elements 0, 1, and 2. So now you start at 0 while we're less than. So now if I print blah at J, this will now print A, B, and C. And then our, helps if I don't print the letter from up here. There. A, B, and C. Because we're looping over each one individually to go through. That's what your array is for. All right, so now I want to say object, but I just call it thing. But now we've got our thing here, again, which we saw on our Truthy table, right? What is this? This is an object. And in here, you can have, let's just do, can I do greeting in here? No, yeah. Greeting. See if I can get my syntax right. I don't do JavaScript a ton. Greeting, hello, comma, and place. Let's go to the moon today. Right, so now let's do I want to change that down here? Yeah, we'll change it down here. So now I go thing dot greeting. Hey, it's a property. Kind of like how the length was a property. So now I can do thing dot place over here, right? So this is kind of using that. So I could also then come over here and actually let's bring it out up here. I could pass in the thing and change greetings to actually just to say show you, it doesn't really matter. Let's just say thing stuff, called stuff, right? So again, because it's the second one, this goes in here. Now I can change thing to stuff, right? And run that. Yay, it works, right? So here's your objects. Why am I showing you this? Because some of the functions within BitBurner will return this thing right here. Well, what if I just print that thing, right? So ns.print the thing, right? Comment out or hello there. print our thing. So you can kind of see exactly how it is. And so now you know how to do that piece. And I believe there was a JSON. Oh, there was something that I cannot think about at the moment to actually make it look nice. Print. I can't think about it. I'll have to Google it. But a way to make it look nice so it actually looks more like this as opposed to the string piece where it's all together like that. And I can't think of it. You'll see it in some documentation. They'll call it pretty print, basically to make it more readable by a human. So this is also known as JavaScript object notation, which is abbreviated as JSON, JavaScript object notation. That's kind of what that stands for. So, yay. Anything else worth doing? Yes, there is. Okay. So now we'll actually get to see how this export works. And we need to do the async as well. Let's do the async first. So in here, I don't, sleep. There we go. That's one that has this. All right. So with, how to put it, turns a promise that resolves to true when sleep is completed. So this is something that takes time. And since it doesn't run things sequentially, so all the things that we've been running so far, as soon as the program runs, it runs this thing and it tries to run things as fast as it can, right? So it runs this, and then it runs this, and then it runs this. Let's comment that out real quick. Then it runs this, it gets to the end, it's done, and it closes out and says, I'm finished, right? The script finished. With async and await, now we're saying, hey, run as fast as you can, do this, 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 this. Oh, await. Okay, start this, but now I'm going to wait until this finishes, and then I will continue on and do the things, right? So that's kind of the way it works here within BitBurner. A lot of times what you'll do is in JavaScript, you would have a variable that you can put the, it's back here, thing to wait for, and then technically I can do await thing to wait for, right? Pretty sure that will, and we're going to wait. This is in milliseconds, so that would be 5 seconds, 1 second, 2, 3, 4. A lot of times people will do this, say times 1,000, so that way I can quickly look and say, okay, it's 4 seconds. All right, I want a minute, 60 seconds. It becomes a lot easier to see than, All right, so I want hours, so 60 minutes or 60 seconds times 60 minutes is, this will be an hour here, right? So they'll do it that way to make it easier to see, or sometimes they'll go ahead and just multiply this because 6 times 6 is 360, right? No, that's not right. Yeah, it is. 6 times 6 is 36, so 360. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go 5 seconds, right? Pretty sure it allows us to do this way. Yep. So keep running those things. typically in most of the places, you'll just see that as soon as you do it, you want to await. Just do the await right now. With the other way, let's go back. Here I can then say result, which we know is now becomes true because it said that when it finishes, come back, that it returns a true when it's finished, right? So this would now become true. Which when I hovered over, we saw result true, right? So, but typically you'll just see it as you want to wait at that moment exactly for 5 seconds. So you want to await. Now, what happens? Come back here. Right, so you can saw that it finished running. What happens if I don't put the await there? What kind of error message do we get? It says concurrent calls to Netscape functions. So what happened is it's called the sleep, but because we didn't say await, it's now trying to run this. That takes time, 5 seconds. While it's waiting, it's still running other code. And so it tried running this print. I can't combine 2 words into one. Does not work. This print. And so, hey, it says you called concurrent ones, right? Did you forget an await? Or some other promise like sleep. So right here, it's running sleep and then tried to run the print, which is this one down here. So you can see line 33, hello. Oh, dang it. I clicked. So 33 and hello, the function hello, and then 17, the main. So that's kind of telling you where it found the second one, but it doesn't tell you where the first one was. And so you kind of have to go back and look, and you just need to remember what it is. And so it really helps if you are checking things a lot all the time, so that way you can hopefully catch those kind of things. So that's another error that you'll come across. That one's a pain as well to find. All right. That was async. Let's talk export. With this, I need to create another file. Let's call this hello.js. All right, so now I'm not going to run this one from the command line like I was the other one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to export this function out and make it available outside of this particular JavaScript. We'll call this the hello world. And it's going to take in our NetScript object, which is a BitBurner specific thing, obviously. Well, maybe not obviously, but it has things in here that are BitBurner things. So, yeah. All right. So from here, I just want to print. Actually, let's just change this to goodbye. Goodbye, world. Say goodbye, world. Goodbye, world. All right, so now I come into test. I can come up here and now say import in our brace here. Goodbye, world. From, I just like having spaces in here. It doesn't matter, but it's just, that makes it easier to read for me. From, and this is hello.js. I believe that's right. So after our hello, we're going to call the goodbye world with an S. see if I did it right. Oh, we still got to sleep for 5 seconds. Change you to have a second. Hey, I did it right. All right, goodbye world. Right. So this script is calling a function that lives in this other script. So that is what our export does. It exports it out. So if I forgot, and since there's nothing here that I need to await, I can technically get rid of the async as well, but just to show, I don't have the export. No squigglies there, but if I come here, hey, the requested module, blah, 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 doesn't have exported name. Sorry, we can't be more helpful, right? So this is what happens when you miss that export. It's trying to say, hey, that other file, blah, doesn't have it. And under the hood, it has to do some weird things to make JavaScript actually work within this because it's a program within a program within a program kind of thing. But need our export. It'll still work correctly because async is not needed because there's nothing in here, right? So if I run it, works just fine. It's fine, right? Now, if I had in here, wait, ns, sleep, because that one's easy. Again, we'll go half a second. Come over here into our test. Now, what's going to want is it, because it's the last thing, it will probably not complain. Yeah, it didn't complain at the moment. But now if I were to add another print, I'm done. Right. Now we're going to get that complaining that, hey, I ran another NS thing. I didn't do an await. Right. So our goodbye world needs to be awaited because over here we have async and we are awaiting the sleep over here. Right. So it called that and continued on, and right. So I had two things going. So because that. Now, obviously, if I took out this, I could still have the await here and it would work just fine because we did say it was async. It'll just happen to finish completely early. It won't matter. And again, if I take out the await, it'll happen to work because over here, I'm not actually awaiting anything. I put it back. You'll see it blow up. And now we need to have the awaits back over here. Cool. All right. The little more advanced would be to actually show a class, but I don't use those a lot often, and you probably don't really need to do it. It's more advanced-ish kind of things. There's going to be other things like just general string manipulation. I don't think I saved much of that. I will have to look that up. You'll see that in my other videos when I go to make the thing. There's printf where you can do formatted messages like, I think it's like S and like that. And so you can do, for instance, you know how I did the interpolation down below, right? The interpolation is it's a newer kind of thing. Some of the older JavaScript didn't have that, and especially holdovers from other languages like C And all the other ones is you could actually do that exact same thing down there here, where I'm going to pass in variables, or these pass in, you know, these arguments into this function, and it knows underneath that when it sees %s, it needs to replace it with a string. And if it was like a %d means a number, you know, things like that. JavaScript itself has, is it math dot, you can get a whole bunch of different math things, you know, like cosine. Yeah, we're not going to do that. But more specifically, like floor, right? This returns the greatest integer less than or equal to its numeric argument. Less than or equal to its numeric argument, right? So if I have 1.2345, this will return 1. What that do? Basically, it's kind of put it down to the floor, right? So if I have ceiling, take it to the roof. Ceiling, right? Take it to the ceiling. So this would effectively round, like the other one, round down to 1. This one would go up to 2, right? This will be 2. We have math dot max. So now I can give a bunch of numbers, right? So if I did 4, 7, that's not 7, that's 5. 54, 2, 4, right? You're not going to have repeats. This will turn whatever the biggest number is, the max one, right? And over it returns the largest of the set. So in this case, it would return 54. Did the same thing, but did min. This would return 2. If I didn't have 2 in there, just had the 4. Come back here. I'll just change you to a 2, right? It doesn't matter if there's duplicates. 2 is still the smallest one, so it'll return the min, right? So these are kind of nice to have. These are, you know, within JavaScript. Not familiar with round. F round. Nearest single position float representation. All right, so yeah. Single position. I think yeah, whatever. I don't use it. Is it math? There was some really nice formatting things that I can't think of right now. And I used it in the other one and I can't think of it. That's gonna bug me. That's exponential right there. Absolute value. No. Not automatic braking system, but absolute value. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to cover. Those error messages, definitely good to know. I may take this video and shorten it down to just the actual error pieces to help those that come later. Anything else that I want to cover? I think that's all I can think of. There'll be something as soon as I finish. There always is. Cool. All right, that's that piece. We'll end this one, and maybe I'll do a stream to start the next piece here, just to separate videos. I don't know. I'll think about it. Cool. Take care, guys.